There was a day in Vancouver when you could go from bootlegging joint to bootlegging joint, order a drink for about 25 cents, eat a tamale or bowl of chili, and listen to some great sounds. It is Black History Month, the perfect time to celebrate the life and times of the downtown East Side's historic Black community. Austin Chic Gibson and his sister Thelma are consummate entertainers. They will be part of a tribute called East End Blues and all that jazz coming up in our city. It is my pleasure to welcome Chic and Thelma to Studio 4 to tell us more. The Gibsons. Nice to meet you.
Nice
My
to meet
pleasure.
you.
Take me back to when you started, Thelma, in Athabasca, Alberta. Really?
No, I was born there, but I came here when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And my mother always wanted to keep us in the music world because she sang too.
Okay.
And I guess I started doing little shows when I was about 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah,
So
Tom
Leona,
Somebody,
your mom, Sylvester?
My mother, Leona,
Yes.
and she was first Gibson, and she married Sylvester Risby.
Okay, so Leona and Sylvester Risby lived in Athabasca, Alberta, and had you and had another son.
Leona and my father, James Gibson.
Okay, it's
The
confusing.
second husband is
Okay,
Sylvester.
already. And when did you arrive?
Well, just as soon as we got to Vancouver.
Oh, really
Yeah, I'm the
smart.
sunshine kid.
Uh-huh. No kidding. And when did you start performing?
Not till I was 13. I wasn't going to go into the family business. I was going to be an athlete.
I see. Baseball, hockey.
Baseball.
Baseball. Who influenced you to do that?
Oh my goodness, there was lots of players there. Mostly, I guess it was Jackie Robinson at one time, and just after the war, he was the one that really inspired me.
You
but,
bet. Broke
there
down
was-
that barrier.
Yes,
That's
he
right.
did.
First
And-
black man in baseball, right?
And it made it
Right.
possible. I said, gee, you can go all the way, so why not try harder, you know?
But eventually, the entertainment bug bit you.
Well, actually, it was more like colored me.
Really? You're going to dance? You're going to sing?
Yes.
That's
Really?
right, exactly. My brother came up to me and says, I need a male dancer, and you're just about the right size. And I said, oh, I don't want to do this, Lynn. You know, I really don't want to do this. And she says, well, they'll pay you.
Oh.
And I says, how much? He says, lots of money. I says, oh, well, sign me up.
Sure. Why not? I'll figure out how to dance. Were you classically trained ever? Leonard was classically trained in ballet, right?
Yes,
That's
he was
right.
the first black classical trained dancer in Canada.
How fabulous! And you danced, you tapped, you.
No, I just
No,
learned how
no
to do...
Jelly Roll Morton in you.
Oh, yeah, I did jazz, I did blues, I did Afro and ballet, but I never learned to tap.
I did.
Okay, I love tapping.
I love
Yeah.
tapping too.
Me too. I'm not so good at it. You're probably better at tapping than I am.
Well, I was, but I've got an osteo knee now, so I
Oh,
don't.
okay. But you
do
can
my
still
tap.
sing.
I sing and I teach drumming. And
How
I
great.
do. Yeah, I have a little Caribbean group that I.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
take me
train.
back to Hogan's Alley.
Well,
The country club. Your
Country
family
Club was
owned
my
the
mother.
country club.
Yeah, right. She
What
had
was it
3
like?
different ones. One on Hastings East,
Mm-hmm.
and then one on Georgia, and then the last one was on Powell, 400 Rock,
Wow.
Powell Street. And she had her hot tamales and fried chicken, and we used to do live entertainment there, and it was a great, fun place.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the servicemen, you come up from, you know, Washington, there were a lot of places they could get, you know, southern fried chicken and, you know, they call homegrown food.
Yes.
So they come to Mom's place and they feel like they were home. you
Of
know.
course,
Yeah,
down home cooking.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Nothing like it.
And her personality.
Yes.
I bet she was a character.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Really? And certainly Vi Moore, who
Oh,
had
yes.
Vi's Chicken
The
and,
Vi's
and
Chicken and
Steakhouse.
Steakhouse.
She was a character.
She
She
came
was
after
definitely
the
a character,
country
yeah.
club.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always liked the crowd at Vi's.
Vi's was great. Yeah, it was great.
There were cops, and there were entertainers, and occasionally a Duke Ellington or somebody would show
That's
up.
right.
Yes.
Same with Mom, though.
Really
Yeah.
sing.
Satchmo was there.
Really?
Yeah. Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
And
And groups of Duke Ellington's band came there.
Sure.
And was it Charlie Strayhorn? And that guy's
I'm not sure, but I know that
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix's aunt, I think it was.
And used to work for Vi
Used to work for Vi, yeah.
in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
Nora.
Nora
Was that
Hendricks.
Nora?
She used to be our neighbor.
Really?
Yeah, at 800 block East Georgia. Jimmy
Wow.
was a little boy on a bicycle, and she was our
And
neighbor.
who ran the Smiling Buddha? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Smiling
but
Buddha
forget-
or-
I forget.
The Mandarin Gardens.
What was his name now? Gosh, I can't remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, he was the guy that fired Jimi Hendrix.
He fired. Really good. I fired Jimi Hendrix, that terrible guitar player. Do you remember why?
Well, I was in the club at the time, and he was just experimenting in his new sounds. And of course, he was experimenting on us.
Sure.
So, and everybody was saying, what is he doing? Because it's all very new, and a lot of people started saying, well, that's not what we're used to. We want to hear some blues and jazz, but we want to hear this, this is a little far out for us.
Uh-oh.
So anyway, they complained a bit, and the owner come up, and what is his name? Thelma, do you remember his name?
I don't.
I can't remember his name.
Nobody
Anyway.
here is old enough.
Right.
So we'll have to Google.
We have to Google
We
it.
can always Google today.
Anyway,
For sure we can.
He went up and he told him, he says, you got to stop that music. And Jimmy wouldn't. So he says, okay, you're fired.
Okay.
Pack up your stuff. So
Goodbye.
the whole band left.
The whole band left town on a fast train. But as you know, in those days, if you were black, you couldn't stay in any of the major hotels. I think the Georgia was the only one. There were a few, but most black entertainers had to stay out of town. The Lena Horns and the Sammy Davises.
Yeah, well, I think Sammy stayed at the Georgia, I believe.
The Georgia, I think, was the only one.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable today.
Yes, it is.
It is.
But it certainly was happening then. Take me to your neighborhood, growing up, in Vancouver's black neighborhood, downtown East Side.
Well, do you want to start, sis?
Well, there was church on Sunday.
Oh, yes.
If the church is still there. It's at Pryor and Jackson Avenue.
Right, and it was called
the
Fountain Chapel?
Yes, Fountain Chapel, yeah. That
Really?
we were there every Sunday. Participated in music, lots and lots and lots of music. And Nora Hendricks was in the choir there.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
she founded that church almost. She was very strong in getting that thing established.
And were there many white people who came down to participate, be part of it? It was pretty much...
It was pretty much black.
Yeah.
Pretty much
There was a
black,
few-
Japanese, Chinese.
No, mostly black.
At
A
our
few
church,
whites. Yeah, a few whites, but not many.
Like in Harlem,
Yeah,
Well, yes.
like in Harlem.
in New York. And
Very
now
much.
look at Harlem. Now look at the downtown East Side. Oh my.
Oh my is right. Yeah, I
When
don't
did the-
recognize the place.
I'm sure not. When did the neighborhood start to deteriorate? Were you living there then?
Well, no, I got married in 55 and I moved out then, and we had bought a place, I guess, in 53 or 54 out in, the family home where
54.
where
Yeah.
Thelma's living now.
Right near Hastings Park.
Okay. And did you experience racism?
Well,
In
pretty
those
well,
days?
Yeah, oh yes.
Like-
yeah. Just different types of things.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I
For
remember-
instance,
I remember I
Well,
went to
Go ahead.
apply for a teaching job at Arthur Murray's studio, and they said, "Oh, no doubt that you'd be the," because I specialized in Caribbean and jazz and Latin American dances, and they said, "We don't doubt that you wouldn't be the best teacher, but there was a racial thing; they didn't want to take a chance." So it was lots of little incidents.
yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. But we were fortunate. Most of the Chinese cabarets in Vancouver would book local entertainment, and usually a lot of them were black.
Yeah.
And the Cave Supper Club booked.
Even in the 60s when I arrived, I had a friend who was a flipette on the Flip Wilson show.
Oh, for goodness
yes.
And she
sakes.
came to town,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was just gorgeous. And she
Yeah.
had a turban, as you have, big purple turban. I took her to Scott's Cafe with my other friend, who was also black, and he was an entertainer. Well, it caused a stir.
Yes.
They were so surprised, and the waitress said to me, "What would Florence want?" I said,
Florence.
Florence, ask Florence. She can hear,
Yeah.
and she can talk,
Yeah.
and she can entertain.
Yeah, right.
But I'm telling you, as we just walked down Granville Street,
Yeah.
everybody was kind of snapping
Yeah.
because the only identifiable black in that part of town at that point was probably Leon Bibb.
Oh.
Yeah.
You
Was he here then?
He was
He
here.
might have been here.
He just got here.
Well, it might have been, the way they dressed too, because I worked at BC Electric right downtown there
Right.
on Burrard. I was down there all the time. I started in 1955. I was one of the first
First
black
black
to work for
hired,
the
yeah.
BC Electric.
Really?
And then, of course, BC Hydro now.
Yes, of course.
And I was in the office. I was an inspector at that time. And I used to go all around the town, but I was dressed up in an Ivy League suit and all the best. So they didn't even notice me.
You weren't in your purple pants.
That's right.
No, your purple velvets.
I just looked like everybody else, so they never noticed me in that. And I used to eat at Scott's. The big thing with me is that the company where I was a JC at the time, and the company asked us to go there for meetings and stuff like that. They gave us a chance to go meet for our meetings down there at the Eternal City Club.
Oh.
And I thought I was going to have some problem there, but the powers that be at Hydro, or BC Electric, said that they told them about me and that I was to be let in.
Good.
And
Let
I never
him
had
in.
let me in. I didn't. And then of course later on when I was at JC's, we used to meet there too, and we didn't have any problems at all when we we're doing it on our own, not through Hydro.
Well, as a female, as you know, we couldn't get into the Vancouver Club. We could get in the back door, but we couldn't go in the front door.
Well,
now that's changed.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is, pretty much so, but we're getting better. Thelma and Chic Gibson, our guests, and we'll come back and talk about East End blues and all that jazz.